As an apple shape, it can be really difficult to dress around bodies, especially in the cooler months when we want to just stay snuggled up and stay warm. Thick woolly jumpers and puffer coats just doesn't work for us who are top heavy. So for today's video, I want to talk about some of the best coats there is for us apple shapes, some do's and don'ts of coats on how to look amazing and still stay nice and warm. First, however, I should say hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Marlene. I'm a personal stylist. I am also a plus size apple shape, so I know the struggles of dressing our body shape. If you would love to learn more on how to dress the apple shaped body, give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to tell me in the comments which piece you would like me to go into details next. Also, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and click on that little notification bell so you don't miss the videos. The best coat for an apple shape is one that has the 3/4 length, meaning that it'll hit you somewhere between mid-thigh and just above the knees. This will give you the rule of third, and if you don't know the rule of third, it basically means that you chop, but just visually, chop your body into two halves, and one half of the body should be 2/3 of the length of your body, and the other half should be 1/3. This gives the most overall pleasing look, harmonious look when we look at an outfit. The 3/4 length will give you that harmonious look. It will be a sleek look, and because we are top heavy, it would elongate our body and make the eye travel the length of the coat. You can absolutely go longer or shorter if you prefer. I would just say make sure that wherever the coat or the jacket for that matter hits you, make sure it doesn't hit you straight on a joint, meaning it doesn't hit you straight on the hip joint, the knee joint, or the ankle joint. Go for something that hits in between the joints. That will give you an elongating look and again keep that smooth and elegant look that we are going for. A coat with a belt is a fantastic option for us apple shapes. We're not naturally blessed with much of a waist. Most of us are thicker around the middle than we are elsewhere. And in order to get that balanced and sleek look, it's all about creating that hourglass figure. We can't physically change our body, so the illusion with the clothes that we wear can definitely do the trick. And a belt is a fantastic option for us apple shapes. It allows us to cinch in that waist, giving us the illusion of that waist. And on top of that, it gives us so many more options to play around with just the one coat. You can absolutely keep the coat with no belt and just leave it hanging open and hanging loose. That can be very beautiful. You can also tie the belt on the back, which can look very sleek. And of course, you can play around with different belts. So a coat with a belt in it is a fantastic option for us apple shapes. Once again, think about creating that waist, and that is where the belt is fantastic. The best shape of a coat is definitely one that already has a waist sewn into it. Often you'll see that on blazers, but it can be found on coats as well with a bit of trial and error for sure. But if you have the coat curved in at the waist, it'll kick out a little bit at the bottom, giving it that A-line, and that is beautiful, flattering silhouette on us apple shapes. Once again, it just gives it that sleek figure, it puts us into balance, and it looks very, very elegant. You should definitely avoid a straight coat, especially if we're talking about winter coats, because the material will be thicker and heavier and will just hang straight down on you, and it'll give you a very, very square silhouette. You can get away with it if it's a lighter coat, especially a trench coat where it'll just hang open, it'll be more flowy and you won't see the squareness as much. But again, if you want to go for a square coat, like a trench coat for instance, maybe just go for one that is belted. But if you can find one that is sewn in to the waist, it'll look extra flattering on us apple shapes. Paying attention to the details on your coat is very, very important. And one of the biggest ones is the pocket placements. Pockets often sit around the tummy area, and because this is where we're the biggest and we don't want to draw attention to that area, having a big pockets with big flaps or big buttons or bows or whatever, it's only going to draw attention to the tummy area. A more discreet pocket that is just like a slit at the side of the coat, and obviously the pocket is underneath, is much more flattering and much more balanced on us apple shapes. It will allow the pocket to be there because it's functional and we need it, but it won't draw attention to the area we don't want to share to the world. So do pay attention to the little details. The less fuss we have at the top half, the better. You can still have a hood on your coat, of course, just avoid all that big fluffy stuff that they like putting on hoods. Go for one that is nice and sleek, so it's just practical and not a feature of the coat itself. As I said, the lapel of your coat, the wider it is, the more attention it's going to bring to the top area. And if you are top heavy with a larger chest, definitely avoid that. Breast pockets on a large chest is an absolute no-go. It'll make everything look even bigger, take the attention away from anything else. You look out of balance and out of harmony. So keep all the fuss to a minimum if you are an apple shape especially, and especially if you are top heavy. The less fuss, the better. And of course, you can always just use a nice scarf if you need, a woolly hat if you prefer, and then some nice fluffy gloves with it as well. A single-breasted coat, meaning one row of buttons down the front, is the best option when it comes to us apple shapes. A double-breasted coat, meaning there will be 2 rows of buttons, will simply just make us look wider than we are, and as we are looking to balance our top heaviness, we don't want to add the width. So choose a coat with the 1 row of buttons for a more balanced look. You can, of course, go for the zip closures as well. Me personally, I just find that a zip closure looks a little bit more casual, but it very much depends on your lifestyle and what is that coat specifically going to do for you. With the buttons, however, for those of us who do have a larger tummy, you can always leave a little button open down by the tummy area and cover it with a scarf, so just give you a little bit more wiggly room. And that leads me on to a very important point when it comes to buying coats for apple shapes. Most of us will want a coat that can close over our tummy because we want to stay nice and warm. That makes sense, right? The problem is, for many of us apple shapes, we are larger around the tummy. So when you buy a coat that can fit around your tummy, it'll drown the rest of your body. It'll simply be too big in a lot of other areas. The key to a good fitting coat on an apple shape is the fit of the shoulders. You need to find a coat that fit the shoulders. No drop shoulders, no oversized droopy shoulders or anything. No. If you want a sleek and balanced look when it comes as an apple shape to a coat, you need to make sure you have a proper fitting shoulder measurement. It may take time to find the proper fit, and it's the exact same whether it's a blazer, a coat, a jacket, cardigan, whatever it may be. If you want that sleek look and you don't want to look as if you're drowning in your outfit, make sure that that shoulder measurement fits you perfect. Here, the shape of the coat once again will come into play. This is what we were talking about, getting one that was sewn into the waist and give you that slight A-line. Having that A-line will give you a little bit more room for the tummy and again give us that sleeker look. And if needed, as long as it's not winter, it's snowing kind of coat, you can always keep it open and just keep yourself warm with a big thick woolly scarf in the front. Next to consider is the fabric, and as we want to stay warm, it's natural to gravitate towards the puffer and the bulkier down coat. However, those of us who have the top heavier frame, that's the last thing we want to do. We don't want to add any bulk to our frame. Instead, wool is our best friend. Wool will give you all the warmth, but none of that extra bulk. And once you team that with a scarf, hat, gloves, etc., you're not going to feel the cold at all. For different times of the year, you can of course go for different fabric. You don't want wool in the summer, that makes sense. However, keep the other points that I made about getting the perfect coat for us apple shapes in mind while you're searching for the perfect coat. It will take time, but is absolutely possible. Outerwear is without a doubt an investment. Wool has a higher price point, there is no doubt about it. But I want you to think about your outerwear as an investment. If you buy classic and timeless pieces, those pieces can last you for years. So I want you to think quality over quantity, especially when it comes to outerwear. You can often be lucky and find great coats in the sales, especially after the Christmas and the New Year, because the shops need to get rid of them. So if you stick to the classic timeless fits, they're going to last you for years, and in the sales, hopefully you can get a good saving. Now, for some of you, when I say timeless and classic, you hear boring. I get it. And I'm advocating for plain, not too many details, stick to what suits your body shape kind of coat. I get the boring bit. However, it does not have to be boring. Colors are a fantastic way to spruce up a classic fit to still make it fun. And if you're not into a bright shining coat, you can always add a bit of color with a scarf or fun hat or even some fun gloves. So classic most certainly do not have to be boring and dull. It doesn't have to be all neutral colors. You can still accessorize, you can still spruce it up and have fun, even though it's a classic fit for us apple shapes. That is a good overview on how to find a good coat for us apple shapes. Us apple shapes genuinely are better suited for the classic and timeless fashion. It just suits our body shape better. But most importantly, have fun and wear what you love, all right? Never forget that. If you want to learn more on how to dress the apple shaped body, I would recommend the video that has popped up here somewhere on the screen. And there's always the option of working with me online one-to-one to learn to make the most out of your wardrobe. Should you be interested in that, the details are in the description box.